I want to give a special shout out to all my patrons first. Thank you so much to my Bibliospren, Bibliohowlers, and my Bibliomancers. It means a lot to me that you give me your extra support for my passion and hobby. Hi everyone, Petrik here. We are nearing the end of the month, so I think it is the right time for me to talk about all the books that I want to try reading next month. Because right now, I'm in the middle of reading Curse of the Misread by Johnny Wirtz. Yes, I have finally started reading this book, and I think I can safely say that it will take me the entire last week of the month of May to finish The Curse of the Misread. And then, well, after I finish this one, it will be the month of June. And the first book that I want to read in the month of June, it will most likely be Defiant by Michael R. Miller. This is the third book in the Songs of Chaos series, a progression Dragon Rider epic fantasy series. The cover artwork is done by Randy Vargas, and I think it is the best cover art in the entire series so far. But as far as the books goes, for the first book, Ascendant, and then the second book, Unbound, I had a great time reading the both of them. I think Holt, the main character, and the dragon, Ash, they are such a great duo, and I love the development that happened in Unbound very much. I think it was really brilliant of Michael Miller to introduce a new POV character in that book named Osric. I forgot the name of the character right now, but it's something similar to that. And I think having that character and based on everything that has happened in Unbound, I think Defiant has a strong chance to become the best of the series, and it is also the biggest book in the entire series so far. I think Songs of Chaos, if I'm not mistaken, it will be a 5-book series, and I am ready to tackle Defiant next month. It has been, I think, 5 or 6 months since I read Unbound, and I'm starting to miss reading Dragon Rider epic fantasy again. So I think it is the right time for me to go back to the world of the Songs of Chaos. And fingers crossed, this will indeed be my favorite book in the series so far. Because even though I had a great time reading the first 2 books in the series, I do consider the first book, Ascendant, to be superior compared to Unbound. But based on the reviews and positive ratings that I have seen, it seems like many fans of the series agree that Defiant is the best. Hopefully I can concur with that statement. And then after I finished reading Defiant, I plan to read 2 epic fantasy debut novels. The first one I think is published last year, and the other one is published this year. Actually, it was published this month, in the month of May. And I will be reading this one in the month of June. So let's talk about that one first. This is Coffee 3 by Aman J. Bedi. Yeah, this is a Grimdark, I think, a Grimdark debut fantasy novel. And although this is an epic fantasy novel, I should probably let you know first that this one is, well, it can be considered to be a short epic fantasy novel. It is only about 100,000 words long, or 110,000 words long. So it's definitely far shorter compared to a lot of epic fantasy books published in the past. But as I always say, even though this is a short epic fantasy novel and I tend to prefer longer epic fantasy books, there is always a chance, let's say, like The Hand of the Sun King by J.T. Greathouse, a short epic fantasy book work with me as well. Every time I talk about this is not a blanket statement. There is no such thing as a big fantasy books immediately mean it's a great book, and also short fantasy books doesn't immediately mean that it is unsatisfying. It all depends on execution, and I look forward to reading Coffee 3. Some readers have messaged me about Coffee 3, and they said I think I will have a great time reading this one. This is a South Asian inspired epic fantasy debut novel, and as I said in my cover reveal and also my previous book haul video, well, Coffee 3, the author Aman J. Bedi, he has included a lot of things that became some of my favorite stories into his books, such as Kaladin from the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson, or Malazan, Book of the Fallen by Stephen Erickson. And then there is also Neon Genesis Evangelion, the anime, and Vagabond and Berserk, 2 of my favorite manga of all time, some of my favorite manga series of all time. Vagabond is by Takehiko Inoue, and Berserk, of course, is by Kentaro Miura. Hearing all of this, of course, I will have to try reading Coffee 3, and I hope I will have a great time reading this one. I don't have too many epic fantasy debuts that is being published this year remaining that I will read within this year. This is one of them, and I think I have only about 2 or 3 of them left that I want to try reading, and then I can safely say which one is my favorite fantasy debut of this year. And this is the premise of Coffee 3. Meet Kavi 3, outcast, underdog, survivor. Kavi is a Temu, Her people, once feared berserkers and the spearhead of a continent-spanning invasion, are now the dregs of Ryan society, their spirits crushed, their swords broken, their history erased. But Kavi has a dream and a plan. She will do whatever it takes to earn a place at the secretive Mage Academy, face the Jinn within its walls, and gain the power to rise above her station and drag her people out of the darkness. Except power and knowledge come at a cost, and the world no longer needs a Temu who can fight, so they will break her, beat her down to her knees, and make her bleed. But if blood is what they want, Kavi will give them blood. She will give them violence, she will show them a berserker's fury, and she will make them remember her name. And after I'm done with reading Kavi 3, I'll be reading another Grimdark fantasy debut, and this one is published last year. I heard nothing but amazing things about The Price of Power by Michael Michel. This is a self-published fantasy book, and pretty much everyone who have read this book, pretty much everyone who have read and loved this book, everyone said that this is very suitable to those who love reading The First Law World by Joe Abercrombie, especially the first trilogy. And as a huge fan of The First Law World by Joe Abercrombie, I am always on the lookout for another book or another series that will remind me of the greatness of the First Law books. And my patrons, plenty of them have read The Price of Power, and they said, this is it. This is another great example of that. So I will be reading The Price of Power after I'm done with Kavi 3 in the month of June. And this is the premise of the book. Prince Barodain could not hold back the darkness, not even in himself. He laid an innocent city in its grave and then died a hero. In his absence, war whispers across the land. Power-hungry highborn dispatch spies and assassins to the shadows as they maneuver for the throne, while an even greater threat rises in the south. Monsters and cultists flock to the banners of a mad prophet determined to control reality and then shatter it. Destiny stalks three to the brink of oblivion, a dead prince that isn't actually dead. Barodain buried his shameful past in a stupor of drugs, drink, and crime, and now he would rather watch the world fall apart than wear a crown again. An orphan with hero's blood who is forced to make a harrowing choice, betray her country or sacrifice her first love. And a powerful seer who has no choice at all, her grandson must die. If any of them fails to pay the price, the cost will be the world's complete annihilation. So it seems very likely that The Price of Power will be a character-driven grimdark epic fantasy debut. And so I will be reading this one next month. Plus, as I said, many people have told me that this is one of their favorite books of all time. Even though not too many people, I think, have heard about The Price of Power, those who have read it, well, they have kind of become a legion of loyalty to this book and series. And let's see whether I can become one of them as well. And after The Price of Power, I will be back to the world of Boston art. Yeah, it is Empire of Grass by Ted Williams, the second book in the Last King of Boston art series, which is the sequel series to the Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn trilogy. Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn trilogy has become one of my favorite trilogies of all time. And well, The Witchwood Crown is another incredible book in the world of Boston art. I pretty much love everything in the world of Boston art, even though I consider The Stone of Farewell to be my least favorite book in the entire series so far. I still think The Stone of Farewell deserves at least a 4 out of 5 stars rating. After having such a great time being back in the world of Boston art in The Witchwood Crown, and also, well, the cliffhanger ending, I'm kind of surprised that I managed to actually take a step back from the world of Boston art for 1 month. But now, in the month of June, I will be back in the world of Boston art. And let's see what all the surviving characters from the first series and also the new characters, let's see how their journey will progress. And also, Ted Williams' writing is always an absolute delight to read. And for those of you who want to know my full thoughts about The Witchwood Crown, I have actually posted a full spoiler-free review of that book on my blog, Novel Notions, or on Goodreads if you are available over there. But yeah, I wasn't able to post a full review on my YouTube channel. But yeah, the review is up there, and I will do the same for Empire of Grass. And I must say, this cover art, this is absolutely gorgeous. This is done by Michael Whelan. I think this is the last cover art from Michael Whelan for Ted Williams, and that is a shame. That is really a shame, but this is how to go out with a bang, because this is absolutely gorgeous. If you have read the Last King of Boston art series, well, do let me know which book in the series is your favorite so far. Do you consider the Last King of Boston art better than Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn trilogy? Or do you consider the first trilogy to be better than the Last King of Boston art? I want to know your thoughts, because I do think Ted Williams' prose, there is no sign of it decreasing in quality at all. It just keeps getting better and better, even though the Dragonbone chair will always have a special place in my heart for its powerful, melancholic, and somehow nostalgic feeling. I love everything about the Dragonbone chair, and it is still my favorite book by Tad Williams. Let's see whether any book in The Last King of Western Art will be able to change that statement. And then after that, well, the remaining books that I will read, they will most likely be historical fiction. Like the first one, this will be a very thick book. I think this is almost 400,000 words long. So this is a very popular book. This is Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. Honestly, I don't know anything about Pillars of the Earth. The only thing I know about Pillars of the Earth is that so many, like countless people, absolutely love Pillars of the Earth. And this is a story about building a cathedral. That's it. That's all I know about Pillars of the Earth. And I think it is time for me to find out why this book is so beloved by so many readers. Not just historical fiction readers, but fantasy readers and pretty much every reader, really. There are so many people who love Pillars of the Earth, and I want to find out why. And then after that, maybe I will be reading the remaining books in the King's Bridge series, such as World Without End, A Column of Fire, The Evening and the Morning, and finally, The Armor of Light. And I think it is great that every book in King's Bridge, they all work as a standalone novel. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about reading Pillars of the Earth. As I said, I heard nothing but incredibly wonderful things about this book. And then after that, not much more books that I plan to read because, well, there's no way I'll be able to read through them all in the month of June. This is just my reading plan after all, but it all depends on my reading mood. And the next one is Arthur by Giles Christian. This is the third and the final book in the Arthurian Tales trilogy. It has become a trilogy, and Lancelot, the first book in that trilogy, is still one of my favorite historical fiction novels of all time. And if that is considered as a standalone novel, it is also one of my favorite standalone novels. It is absolutely beautiful, and the writing, Giles Christian writing in that book, it is just sublime. And yeah, I want to reread that book again someday. I don't know, maybe I will do that after I finish reading Arthur. And yeah, this is, as I said, the third and the last book in the Arthurian Tales trilogy, and it will take place, I think, several years after the end of the second book, which is Camelot. Because Camelot do take place after the end of Lancelot, and I think the same will happen again in Arthur. And I don't know anything else about it. I haven't checked the premise, but this is Giles Christian, this is the Arthurian Tales, and I think I will end up loving Arthur by Giles Christian. Finally, for the last two books in this TBR, let's just say that I'm still not too sure whether I will be reading them all in the month of June or not, because the first one, this is The Crossroads of Twilight by Robert Jordan. And yeah, this is the infamous worst book of the entire series in the Wheel of Time. And I don't have any confidence that I'll be able to read through Crossroads of Twilight within the month of June. I'll be diving into this one as slowly as possible. I might try to read one chapter per day. And I know many people have told me that if I cannot bear it, just DNF this, read a detailed summary online. So I will keep that as an option. I don't like doing this. I never tried to do this before, but I think I will have to make an exception for Crossroads of Twilight. But that's the last resort. But I'm saying this because the seven, which is A Crown of Swords, and also the ninth book, Winter's Heart, especially Winter's Heart, I had such a terrible time reading through those two books. Surprisingly, The Path of Daggers, which I thought would suck even more, I surprisingly end up enjoying that quite a bit. So I don't know if that could happen with Crossroads of Twilight. That would be a great thing, but I don't think so based on what I have heard online. But you know what? I am determined to finish reading The Wheel of Time, and for that, I will do my best to read through every chapter in Crossroads of Twilight. Wish me luck. And finally, the last book. This one, it depends whether the physical book will arrive to my place in the month of June or not. And this is Herald by Rob J. Hayes. If the physical book doesn't arrive to me in the month of June, then I will move this to the month of July. I just want to read this one, which is considered to be the main novel in the God Eater saga. I just want to read this one from the physical copy that I purchased to the Kickstarter campaign. And yeah, that's really my reasoning behind Herald. But so far, for Demon and also for Deathless, well, they are both incredible books. Even though they are very short, both of them are only about 60,000 words long each, but they are incredibly compelling. And also, I'm excited to find out what will happen in Herald, the main novel in the God Eater saga. And yeah, that's all my plan for the month of June. That's a lot of books. There is absolutely no way, as I said, that I will be able to read through them all, but I will do my best, depending on my reading mood, to read as much as I can. And yeah, I don't have a plan for manga in the month of June. As I said, I'm taking a break from reading manga right now, but I am in the middle of reading every new chapter in Jujutsu Kaisen. And let me just say what is happening here. If you are up to the latest chapter, you know what I'm talking about. It is absolutely insane. That's all I can say about this without giving spoilers. And if you don't know about it, do not search anything online. It will immediately spoil you, a major spoiler. And yeah, that's all. That's all the books that I plan to read in the month of June. And as always, do let me know what you think about the books that I plan to read next month. And let me know which books do you plan to read next month. As always, thank you so much for watching and thank you for your support. Bye-bye. Lastly, I want to say thank you so much once again to all my patrons who keep on supporting me.